Well, good morning, everyone. It's Friday, and as you can see, I have a very special guest, and that guest is my longtime friend, Dorothy Tankersley. Hi, Dorothy. How are you this morning?
Oh, I am just doing fine.
You look so great. You dressed up so nicely.
Well,
It's like we're going to church together or something.
yeah, that's right. I felt like I was going to church.
Well, the fact is, this being Friday, I always remind people that on Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock on TV6, that is our worship service for
Yeah,
Saddleback Laguna Woods. So,
yeah.
and well, I'm dressed about how I dress for church too. It's about the best I can do. Anyway, listen, good to see you. And gosh, you've been in the church since day one. And when I talk with you, I still miss one of my best friends, I feel, during this time was Odell.
Oh, I
And
know.
how long were you married to that great guy, Odell?
About 65 years.
65 years. Wow. Well, he was such a man of wisdom. And we met together for a long time, just weekly and with other men sometimes. And
Yeah,
I had Odell, I don't know if you remember this, but I know some of your family will watch this. So
yeah.
I just want to say, I would bring young men from Saddleback Church, new guys on staff, to sit and listen to Odell, and we would meet at often Chick-fil-A, and it was just, I just loved him. So
Well,
I know you did too.
I did.
Well,
Yeah.
listen, what's your verse for today?
Well, this one I just kept coming back to that has been one of my favorite verses for probably 35 years. It's Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. And in those days, now this is verse 12, in those days when you pray, I will listen. You will find me when you seek me, if you look for me in earnest. And I think that's one of the things that we need more of today is seeking the Lord in earnest, because he has all the answers.
He really does. And of course, we're filming before the election, and it's going to play after the election. And it is important. But as you and I were talking, in light of eternity, it's just one moment. And
Yes, just a blip.
well, Dorothy, I know you've walked with the Lord, and you and Odell were such a great Christian witness. But how did you ever get started with walking with Jesus?
Well, when I was about probably 10 years old, I definitely had an encounter with the Lord. I know in my heart that I did. But, when I became a teenager, I kept thinking, well, I really can't have any fun if I'm a Christian. So I wanted to do what the Lord wanted me to do, and I still went to church, but I really didn't have that closeness to him. And not until I was 28 did I rededicate my life to the Lord. And the reason that I did then was because Odell had gone to a revival meeting, and he had gone forth and prayed and accepted the Lord. And so all that day and the next night, I thought, Odell never did have any religious training. So I felt like that if I didn't get right with the Lord and follow him, that Odell, it would be a hindrance to him. So I did. I gave myself to the Lord again, and been walking with him ever since.
Did you go to that revival meeting?
I did, because my mother, she was a great prayer warrior, and she had prayed for all of her children to become believers. And I always said, if anyone ever invited me to church, I would say, well, I'm not ready to go to church now, but when I do go, I'm going to go to the one my mother goes to. And so that was just always my pat answer. And we know that this is an individual thing. You can't go on your mother's faith. She prayed and fasted for all of us kids and for Odell and I for 5 years before we decided to come to the Lord. And so, you know, when you pray for people for so long, you think it's not ever going to happen. But
You know, I absolutely love that. You were married, right, at that time?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, your mom's prayers. And when I focus on that, I have a lot of people tell me, you know, I don't have purpose and I'm shut in and I can't get out and I, you know, on and on. And then I say, but does that mean you can't pray? And they say, well, no, of course not. But I love when I hear stories like yours.
Yeah.
That your mom, for years, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, she was a great prayer warrior. When she passed away, she lived until she was 90. And when she passed away, I kept thinking, who's going to take over Mom's place as the prayer warrior?
Uh-oh.
And I kept asking the Lord that.
Who'd you come up with?
So finally one day I said, okay, I guess it must be me.
So that's what I mean,
yeah.
I can't rest when people tell me that they can't do anything, because prayer is probably, when we get to heaven, we're going to see that was the most important
yes.
of the ministries. And never give up. I had to pray. My mom was critical of me virtually her whole life, but we kept praying and praying. And at the end, she did come to Christ, and a totally different person. So never give up on praying. And wow, if you've taken that on, you have such a big family. You, just in your family and grandkids, you have plenty to pray about.
Oh, I do.
How many children and grandchildren? Well, actually, and great-grandchildren, probably.
I have 5 grandchildren. I have 5 children, 14 grandchildren, 22 great-grandchildren, and 3 great-great-grandchildren.
And you know all their names?
Well, I have to stop and think, but if I have enough time, I can tell you every one of their names.
No.
I didn't think that time.
That is just super. And those have been such a blessing from the Lord.
Yes.
And I know some of them.
Yes.
And certainly the ones I know, I appreciate so much. And although I was disappointed, Mike never moved here.
Oh, well, the Lord using him there in Arizona. So that's a wonderful thing.
Well, the Lord's going to use him wherever that he is.
Yeah.
And same for you. And so Dorothy, it's so good to see you and to get back in touch. And I just heard you got a new car.
Yes. I will.
Oh, I love it. So you're gonna keep going.
I will, as long as the Lord gives me the strength.
I love it.
Keep going.
Yes. Well, you've been you and Odell actually, but an integral part of Saddleback Laguna Woods. We're going to rejoice together in eternity that we had this time of life together.
Yes.
And but until then, this is the best we can do. And I appreciate you so much coming on. And
you're welcome. It was
we'll say hi to all the family, and we just love you guys. So
I will. Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone. See you next week on Inspiration for Today.
Beautiful day. It's wonderful. This is the day that the Lord